Welcome to the Marketing Smarts live show, a part of the Marketing Smarts podcast. Of course, we take clips of people that we have on the show. Anyway, welcome. I am super excited. We here dive into B2B news, resources, valuable guest content, and much, much more each and every week. In other words, I painstakingly try to craft these episodes to give you micro bits of curated content and clips that just, might blow your mind or help impact your business. If you're a B2B marketer looking for a place to learn, keep up to date along the way and have some fun, well, grab a beverage, a notepad, or at least some type of writing utensil, and welcome to the show. The basic premise is that any B2B buyer is going to watch or want to touch your website, look at your social media channels, encounter you in multiple ways before they actually do the old-fashioned pick up the phone experience, which many times it's not even that old, pick up the phone, but they want to talk to you. This week, we talk about all things like why marketers need to be strategic with their content in 2023 and beyond, why content strategy really is the negative hype surrounding AI-generated content and a good starting point for strategic content. There's a lot packed into this one, and especially into the original Marketing Smarts podcast episode. Hello to all my Marketing Smarts live viewers today. I'm super excited to bring you episode 33 of the Marketing Smarts live show. This week's topic is all about how being strategic about content development can boost results and save time and money. And our guest clips, you're going to learn from Ahava Leibtag. And so buckle up, get ready to rock and roll. I'm your boy, George B. Thomas, speaker, trainer, catalyst, and host of this year's show, the Marketing Smarts live show, as well as the Marketing Smarts podcast, found on your favorite podcast app. Our guest clips, again, are brought to you by none other than Ahava Leibtag. Ahava, a 2020 inductee into the Healthcare Internet Hall of Fame, as an innovative individual, has 20 plus years of experience in content, which is why we're having a content conversation today. She has consulted with some of the world's largest firms to attract and grow their audiences. Ahava is the president and owner of AHA Media Group, LLC, a copywriting, content strategy, and content marketing consultancy. She is also the author of The Digital Crown, winning at content on the web, and loves a great logic puzzle, a long game of apples to apples, and anything that has, chocolate. That's right. I love me some chocolate too. Now, remember, the clips of Ahava Leibtag today are pulled from the full Marketing Smarts podcast episode. And if you want to listen to the full interview with Ahava and myself, make sure to tune into the Marketing Smarts podcast. Link to the full show will be in the description below after the live show ends. You know it, all the right links and all the right places at just the right time. Now, in this episode, again, I'm talking with Ahava about how being strategic about content development can boost results and save time and money. Why is your potential customer experience important, and how does content play into the experience? Also, how does content play into the cash that shows up at the bottom line of your business? So many questions in so little time. I wanted to get going down to why being strategic right now with B2B content effort was so stinking important. So I asked Ahava the question, why now? Right? More than ever, by the way, let me just add that. Why now, more than ever, do marketers, B2B marketers, but just marketers in general probably, need to be strategic with their content development? Why do you, watching this right now, need to be more strategic with your content developer? Well, here's what she had to say.
I love the people on LinkedIn that talk about what they predicted for 2022 and what really happened. I appreciate that intellectual honesty. Nobody has a crystal ball. We know, I forget who did the research, but I think there are 14 touch points of content before a B2B buyer actually contacts an organization in order to have a conversation about buying the service or product that's offered. I think particularly a lot of us work in competitive marketplaces where there's an array of choices and levels that people can choose. So, you can buy HubSpot, or you can buy Salesforce, or you can buy a customized version of Salesforce. So somebody looking at CRMs and, project management systems, sometimes it can just be overwhelming, the amount, digital marketing tools, the amount of possibilities that are out there. And so I think the basic premise is that any B2B buyer is going to want to touch your website, look at your social media channels, encounter you in multiple ways before they actually sort of, the old-fashioned pick up the phone experience. And when I say pick up the phone, I'm talking about a clear sales qualified lead where they have given you enough signals that they are ready to have a substantial conversation. I'm not talking about signing up for a newsletter, because they might be using you for educational purposes, and that's great, and that's a metric you should track, and it's a marketing channel that you should use when appropriate. What I mean is that if you're a B2B marketer, at the end of the day, your job is going to be secured by what the numbers look like at the end of the Excel spreadsheet. And if they ain't round and green, or I should say the P&L, right? So if they ain't round and green, nobody cares how many pieces of content that you created. They care if you pushed people into a funnel and made them come out the other side a customer. And that's why I think it's just it was incredibly important. It continues to be incredibly important. The other thing is that, for the last month or so, everyone's freaking out about AI, and we're not going to have any jobs anymore. And I'm like, guys, don't worry. There's more jobs than we know what to do with. It reminds me of, I always show this picture of Buckingham Palace when they used to route the phone lines, before they got automatic, routers for the telephones. And, I don't think you see a dearth of telephone repair people out there. There's still cell towers, and technology keeps moving along. But back to my original premise of sort of AI writing, that just is so clear that it's not high quality, that it's not for your customers. So I think that that's even another reason why it's really, really important for B2B marketers to be as strategic as possible.
Did you hear that? So much goodness in that clip. I love that Ahava touched base on AI in the content creation process pertaining to the mindset that content marketers might be battling with. Like, oh no, everybody just chill out, relax, we're good. But I also like how she talked about overwhelm and experience and the amount of touches that your potential customer needs before they think about starting a conversation. Bonus tip in there: content that drives revenue puts you in a different league and sparks some interesting internal conversations as well. So being strategic is important. And are you being strategic in your content creation efforts? I don't know, but put the answer to that in the chat pane or let me know on Twitter using the hashtag MPB2B. And of course, tag me using @GeorgeB.Thomas. Now, we'll get back to Ahava and her thoughts on how being strategic about content development can boost results and save time and money. But first, I have to ask, are you part of the MarketingProfs community? If not, become part of the MarketingProfs community by heading over to mprofs.com/MP today. That's MarketingProfs or mprofs.com/MP today. Now, it's time for one of my favorite sections in the B2B news, where we talk about breaking B2B news or really important tips we find on the Google News tab related to you and your business, B2B marketing, because Ahava brought up the AI conversation. Well, my brain dove in that direction. This week, the title is Generative AI for B2B Marketing Use Cases and Challenges by Anna Annison. A little tease of the content. Well, marketing is one of the fields that I believe can significantly benefit from the power of AI tools like ChatGPT. AI has already provided many marketers with great results through solutions such as recommender system or customer service chatbots, and tools like ChatGPT could provide even bigger opportunities for the marketing field. This article will discuss how companies can leverage large language models and generative AI for marketing and what they should keep in mind. What they should keep in mind when doing so. So to check out the use cases and concerns and to read this article, check out the link below when the live show is over. All the right links in all the right places at just the right time. So let's get back to Ahava and her Marketing Smarts podcast episode. I wanted to get down to what could be called the brass tacks of this conversation. So I asked Ahava the question that I thought would help a ton of B2B marketers just like you, just like me. The question was, how does being strategic with your content development boost results for B2B marketers? Because we can talk about saving time and money and new conversation, but how the heck does it boost results? Well, let's see what her answer was.
Well, okay, so first of all, thank you for asking the question again, because I think you asked it 2 questions ago and I didn't really answer it. So the first thing I'll tell you is that I'm married to an economist, and an economist talks about resources. So time and money are resources, but so is energy. And emotional energy can also be saved through being strategic. I'll give you some tactical examples from our side of the house. So we work with a lot of B2B healthcare companies who are involved in digital health, med tech, pharma, and they're very often told by their stakeholders or executive sponsors, we need to write content about X. We need to get this message out there. Go do it. And they'll sit down and they'll try to accomplish that, and their audience could care less. Like, that's nice that executives want to talk about something. If there's no marketplace or no listeners about that particular topic, then why are we bothering? And so one of the things we're always telling our customers and our clients is, do you really know who you're talking to? And do you know that that's the right audience that's actually either in a B2B world, because you've got 2 personas always, the buyer and the signer of the contract, meaning the decision maker always has to be the person you're thinking about as well, arming the buyer to address the decision maker. CFOs exist to crush dreams. So if you are going, they're great at what they do, but, and I love my CFO and she's fantastic, but very often she'll say to me, give me proof that you really need that. So, and that's where, if I've had a good salesperson on the other side, I can make a compelling case. If I haven't, then I have no proof points. So when you're strategic with your content and you document it, it saves you a lot of time and money, because A, you're really targeting the right audience. It's like spending, ads into a space where nobody's buying. It would be like, choosing the 14-year-old demographic to sell baby diapers to. Like, what? That doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean? Hopefully, yeah. So from my perspective, when you think about another strategic element that can save you emotional energy, which is a resource, is if you have documented content strategy, then if a stakeholder comes stomping, at you, I want to do this, I want to do that, you can pull out your beautiful slide deck or whatever it is and say, hey, I'm happy to do that. Show me how that fits into what we're trying to accomplish, and I'll be more than happy. And that can be a really great starting point for a great conversation about, okay, you want to talk about X, let's frame that conversation around what the business priorities and goals are. And then a beautiful piece of content might come out of that. So that's where I think saving time and money is really important. The other thing is that when you don't have strategy, you end up purchasing really expensive technology because you think tools are going to solve your problem. And they never do. What tools do is facilitate more efficiencies within a business. People solve problems. And so what I find very often is they're like, well, we need a bigger CRM because we have a larger, audience. Well, then you ask them, well, when's the last time you really looked through that data and figured out how clean it was? So those are the kinds of things where I think, strategy is just, it's incredibly important. I'll tell you from my own company, we're a healthcare company. When COVID hit, it was like, oh my God, what are we going to do? And we completely changed our strategy. We were like, we're going to be of service to our audience. We ungated all of our content. Healthcare communicators need what we do. We produce plain language cheat sheets. Our business grew tremendously. Then in 2021, it was like, well, what are we doing now? And I worked on several projects myself because I felt out of touch with the marketplace, and I realized what we had to do. And so 2022 was the first year of a 2-year strategy, and we grew, tremendously and got everything done that we needed to get done. My daughter plays high school basketball. She's on the varsity, and her coach will often scream at them from the sidelines, move, we know what we're doing. And that's what strategy is. It gives you the freedom to say, do what you need to do, run the plays on the field or the court in this case, because you know what you're doing. And so if you know what you're doing, you're saving effort and energy, not wondering what's happening and constantly feeling like you're in a swirl of chaos.
In a swirl of chaos, my gosh. Do you think about time and money as resources you have a limited supply of? What about energy or emotional energy? Is that at the top of your mind pertaining to your content creation process? Are you talking about things that nobody cares about? Are you also paying attention to both of your potential B2B buyer personas? So much good in that clip. I really love this topic that Ahava passed by pretty quickly, though, that was proof points. Do you have proof points? Do you have proof points in your marketing content? To dig deeper into that conversation, you need to check out the episode we did with Melanie Diesel on the Marketing Smarts podcast about Prove It. Man, that's a deep dive you can go into there. Now, one last thing also on this is, do you think your tools solve problems or the humans in your organization solve the problems? Maybe rewind that part and listen in again to what Ahava shared. Now, we'll get back to Ahava in a few minutes, but first it's time for some dope B2B learnings from the vault of MarketingProfs articles. That's right. It's time to dig into the treasure trove of valuable information and pull out 2 pieces of gold to help you be a better B2B marketer. Article number 1 this week: this simple process can eliminate 4 of your biggest content creation nightmares, by Kelsey Raymond. Now, remember how back in the day, after every birthday or holiday, your mom insisted that you handwrite personal, thoughtful thank you notes to everyone who had given you something, and how you probably waited until the last acceptable minute to get started and mail them off? Well, successfully executing your company's content marketing strategy can instill that same nightmarish sense of procrastination and panic, especially when you're trying to strike a balance between creating engaging, high quality content and producing it at scale. Much as you may have felt it was nearly impossible to write an elegant and sincere thank you note to every relative or family friend who gave you a sweater or a book for your 12th birthday. Gosh, that was a long time ago for me. 12th birthday, I digress. Crafting consistent, thoughtful content at scale is a tough mission to undertake. That was article number 1. Article 2 this week is how to tackle the 4 W's of marketing content creation with data, by Lux Naryan. Hopefully, Lux, I said that right. I apologize if I didn't. But as with most undertakings, before you begin writing or otherwise creating content, you should ask yourself some stock questions. Why, what, when, and where. The 4 W's of content creation. And because creating marketing content is as much science as it is art, the most powerful weapon you have at your disposal is data. So before you start working on your next piece of content, consider the 4 W's. Also, keep in mind how you can use data to resolve the concerns you should be addressing with each and every single question. Want to keep learning more? If so, check out the links in the description below after the live show to get access to both amazing MarketingProfs articles. Okay, back to Ahava Leibtag. Let's dive back into this conversation of how being strategic about content development can boost results and save time and money. Are you paying attention to the hurdles that might get into the way of your strategic content? Are you paying attention to the humans that might be the hurdles? Now, at that point, you might be like, what? Like, what am I talking about? Well, it's plain and simple. Let's see what Ahava had to say when I asked her, what hurdles have you seen get in the way of B2B marketers around or about content strategy or creating strategic content? Here's what she had to say. Get your notepad ready.
There's only 2, really, honestly. I think everything can ladder up to 2. The first one is that the people paying the salaries of the people doing the marketing work don't value marketing or communications. And the second thing is that executives and stakeholders do not fully understand who their true audience is and what they want to consume, how fast they need to consume it, and what really moves the needle for the organization in terms of audiences listening to them. I would be hard pressed to find. There might be a third one, which is that digital marketing moves so quickly that it's hard to stay on top of trends. That might be the third one, but those are the hurdles. I mean, and I don't think that those are internal hurdles. I just think that those exist. You know, medicine also moves at the speed of light, and doctors have to keep on top of research. You know, technologists and software programmers need to keep on top of it. oil rigs are constantly being refined. So I think everybody in their field has to do that. But in content marketing and in content, they're not valued, and the stakeholders aren't close enough to the true audience.
2 major hurdles: lack of marketing communication value and not knowing your audience. I'm just going to drop the mic right there on that question. But for you, it's how do we put people and systems in place to fix those 2 major hurdles? We're going to get some words of wisdom from Ahava here in a few minutes. But right now, it's time to turn the spotlight on you, the Marketing Profs community. Yep, it's time for From the hashtag MPB2B community. We searched far and wide in the hashtag MPB2B universe to find amazing information and conversations to bring to you, the masses. So first, make sure you're using the hashtag. And second, make sure you have fun and add value to the community along the way. Then we'll spotlight you or your crew on the show. This week, it's Renee Siegel, connecting colleagues, clients, and community. Renee is passionate about empowering your entrepreneurial spirit, amplifying authentic stories, and lifting the next generation. That, ladies and gentlemen, is something I can get behind. And think about that. Empowering your entrepreneurial spirit, amplifying authentic stories, and lifting the next generation. Her post goes a little something like this. And it's a good one, by the way. I'm only sharing part of it, but it goes like this. Shouldn't every webinar session include a wardrobe change? What? I was honored to share my thoughts about personal branding for introverts at the MarketingProfs Shake Up B2B conference yesterday. And Lady Gaga is a terrific example of an introvert who's used creative ways to build her brand and stand out. So to shake things up in our session, best-selling author Ann Hanley helped me rock the Q&A with some Gaga garb. Well, I'll stop there. There's more to this post, but you need to check out the description at the end of this and click that link to check it out. Marketing Smarts viewers, I have to ask, are you going to be the next to get the spotlight? Remember, community, use the hashtag MPB2B on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Twitter and get the light shined on your awesomeness in the next episode or a future episode of the Marketing Smarts live show. Pro tip, it won't hurt if you tag me into your post as well. I'm at George B. Thomas on LinkedIn and on Twitter. Book of Faces, it's Mr. George B. Thomas, but I don't know if you ever use the hashtag on Facebook. We'll see. I keep checking every week. Nobody does. As soon as somebody does, they're going to be on the show. It's a little tidbit and a hint for you. Anyway, let's kick it back to Ahava and some words of wisdom around this topic of being strategic, around content development, around boosting your results. Out of all the words that Ahava could have left us, what did she want to give us for the words of wisdom? Short, succinct, powerful. Ladies and gentlemen, pay attention.
Just always be reading new things, novels, nonfiction, magazines, blog posts. Always be reading. Language is a technology. It's a tool that we use to communicate with each other. It's constantly changing. It's constantly evolving. And if you continue to read, you will, I think, always have a handle on those new adaptive ways to communicate. That's it. That's my best words of advice. Or listen to books on tape. I don't care how you do it, but I think always be learning is really what I'm talking about, but I really genuinely believe that true marketers and communicators should be reading. I think there's just something neurologically that happens when we do that really keeps our brains spry. It's like a form of exercise for your brain.
Always be reading or always be listening. Language is a technology. Language is a tool. Language is always changing. Always be learning, Ahava said. Keep exercising your brain. Hopefully this episode has exercised your brain in a good direction to where you need to be focused. Have you enjoyed today's journey? Let us know. Use the hashtag MPB2B on whatever platform you're joining us on today. It's time, ladies and gentlemen. Head to that description below. Click on the link to the full Marketing Smarts podcast with Ahava Leibtag and keep on learning more about how being strategic about content development can boost results and save time and money. Remember, these are just a few clips of the original Marketing Smarts podcast interview. If you got value out of today's show, hit that like, and better yet, share it with a friend or coworker. To keep learning more, hit that subscribe or watch additional Marketing Prof videos on your favorite social channel, or head over to our YouTube channel if you're not there yet. Or you can go tune into the original Marketing Smarts podcast episode on your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to become part of the Marketing Profs community by heading over to mprofs.com/MP today. That's mprofs.com/MP today. And as always, remember to be a happy, helpful, humble B2B marketing human. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Marketing Smarts live show next week.